thing we want to talk about when you leave the interview or after the interview. Does this job make sense for me?
Yeah. But at the same time, the role that you interview for is not necessarily the role that you will end up doing most of the time. Because by the time you join, there will be slight changes to your job scope. But either way, what you said is true. What Adrian was talking about in terms of the job scope. Does it make sense for your career? So you want to analyze the job, the task, the scope, and its possibilities against your own vision of your own strategy and your own career. Where is that going to go?
Especially if the role is something not something you're very used to.
Yeah.
If it's a pivot, does it make sense? So one of our clients just last week, he was being offered a role in KL. And it's away from home and everything, but it's a bigger portfolio, so it makes sense. But they were going to pay him in local currency. So the question was, is it a worthwhile move? So he went there, he got all the information, and he found out that skills-wise, capabilities-wise, it's going to grow me, but it's going to impoverish me because I got to pay the local taxes there and everything, and not even in Sing dollars, by the way.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what we advised him was, what's your priority right now? And his priority right there was not so much the career piece, but the cash flow and the money piece.
So based on this individual specific story, the big items such as, okay, this role is based out of KL, and the other big item was the compensation would be in local currency on local terms, i.e. tax and all that, and then maybe there's some relocation and etc. So the idea is that what we were saying is you attend the interview to then speak to the hiring manager or the decision makers as to what are the other possibilities for growth that would compensate for him to want to relocate, because these are things that probably all are already in the job description. So in the job description, it should be stated that it's going to be located in KL and all that, the big items. But the idea is that during the interview, he can ask questions. So you ask more questions around, yes, it's in KL, but what happens after that?
Yeah.
Or is there room for, I don't know, growth elsewhere? After I finish my stint in KL, am I going to be relocated maybe somewhere else?
True.
And that's the purpose of the interview. So leverage the interview to ask as many questions as possible. So you don't just wait until after the interview to start measuring and thinking. No, you think about it and then use the interview to ask the questions.
Yes.
And then at the end of that, ask yourself again, is it going to improve your career? Does it make sense? Is it aligned to your long-term career strategy?
And if it doesn't, then you either got to find out a bit more about the role, how to make it work, or you can decline and walk away. So for this individual, basically, he decided not to do it. And the main reason was because politically incorrect time. He said, look at the rate the Malaysian ringgit's going. So he says, if I'm going to pay in local currency, I'd rather be paying in US dollars.
So
and interestingly, just a side story as well. There was one time in my career I was being paid in US dollars.
Yes.
And the US currency just kept going up
dropping.
and up and up.
Okay.
No, it was really in my
Nice,
favor.
good for you.
And it was fun because, it's just like getting a raise every month. It was funny, but I can imagine if it's on the other side of the equation.
Okay,
So
let
ouch.
that not be the purpose of the decision criteria ever. Again, currency stability is a thing. So yeah,
It is a thing, and cost and everything. So once again, you have to figure out whether or not it makes sense, whether or not the whole situation is going to be in your favor or otherwise.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of clients, we also advise them to prioritize your family. So if you can move but your family can't for whatever reason, your kids have school and your spouse has a role, has a job, is stable, and if you have to take this other job that's taking you away from your family, so it's something to consider as well. So make it make sense. But at the same time, if the role is very compelling, and this is the only showstopper, for example, the relocation, there are other ways you can navigate that. So again, if you have any questions about that, come talk to us. Because if it's a job you really want with a company and a brand that you know is going to be aligned to your career, and you have an issue with the currency that you're going to be compensated in, plan for it, you know, and then come and have a chat with us. info@careeragility.org, and have a chat, and we'll see if we can help you navigate that speed
we can
bump.
walk you through
Because
it.
I mean, if it's a role you really want,
Yeah.
don't just walk away
Yeah, that's true.
because it's paying
not-
you in a different currency.
Yeah.